What was the craziest food you had in Taiwan?
Craziest food. It was actually something that's not really, you don't really see it that often in Taiwan, but it was one of those like eggs that's like almost like gonna hatch. And so like they like peel, they like boil it and then peel it, and you can like see like the beak and the feathers a little bit starting to come out. And so that was probably the hardest thing to eat on my mission, but it actually tasted all right. So that was kind of surprising.
What was one of the craziest or most dangerous experiences you had?
Um, well, like I mentioned, Taiwan is super safe. Um, but probably the most dangerous experience I had was getting hit by a car once or twice. It was actually kind of funny. Something that's kind of dangerous that happens to lots of missionaries is you'll be riding along the side of the road, and then all of a sudden someone will open their car door, and you don't have time to stop in time, and so you'll hit their door, and it's just a mess. But it almost happened to me. It didn't. Luckily, I was riding with my companion right behind me. He was a new missionary, and he was riding pretty close to me. But we were flying down this road. I saw this door open, and I was like, "Oh man!" I like kind of like skidded, like turned, like put on my brakes pretty hard, and I missed the door. But my companion came flying into me, and he hit my bike. He ended up on the ground. Somehow my bike kind of just slid out from under me, and I just like landed on my feet, and he was on the ground. And the people that opened the door were super, they felt super bad for us. And my companion, he was fine in the end, but I also got bumped by a car a time or two after that. But that's probably the most dangerous thing actually.
What was one of the most spiritual experiences you had, or time you felt the spirit the strongest?
Um, I think one of the times that I felt the spirit the strongest on my mission was it was actually with this same companion that ran into me on the bike, but he was a younger missionary. I was actually his trainer, so I was his first companion. At that time, I also wasn't too experienced, and so I was learning a lot of things as well. Um, and I remember it was kind of towards the end of our first transfer together that the work was going pretty well, but my companion he ended up facing some challenges, kind of just getting adjusted and everything, and it was kind of harder that way. Um, and at that time, I remember I felt a lot of pressure as his senior companion and trainer, and um, I I remember there was about a week that together um, we really strived to rely on the power of the atonement, and I really wanted to help my companion also feel the Spirit. And I remember that week we saw an amazing amount of miracles, um, and I remember one of them was a boy that was the son of a less active that we ended up finding, and he was just super prepared. We had tons of great lessons with him, and he got baptized super fast. And so I think just that experience, and also other times in my mission where um, they're just, I just love those moments where you can, see the Lord's hand when there's gonna be times when you feel inadequate, but the Lord, He finds a way to lift you up and allow you to see these amazing miracles. And so, yeah, that was one of the times that I felt the Spirit the strongest on my mission.
Um, what was a funny language mistake?
Um, so I'm sure I had lots of them learning Chinese, and there's probably too many to remember. But one that was kind of funny was Taiwanese people. A lot of times they like to practice their English with you, particularly if they think they have good English. They like to, speak English. And so I remember at the end of one lesson, I was sitting there with my companion, and we invited the guy to read the Book of Mormon. And in English, he said back to us, um, he said, "Can I read it while I go poo poo and pee pee?" And we just kind of like looked at each other and just started like busting up, and we're just like, oh, like, yeah, sure, like, if that's what you want to do, like, for sure, as long as you're reading the Book of Mormon. But it's just kind of funny because sometimes they have that kind of elementary school English. But yeah.
What was one of the greatest life lessons you learned on your mission?
One of the greatest life lessons that I learned, I think, was the importance of unity, and the importance of working with those around you. Obviously, as a missionary, you have a companion for, you're with them 24 hours a day. Before my mission, I think I felt like I could get along with anyone, right? And then you get out there and you're with someone 24 hours a day, and you realize there's little things that, sometimes drive you crazy, or, you think that you know the right way that something should be done. But I found that the right way is typically in the middle. And so in everything that we do, it's super important that we work with those around us. And as we do, we ourselves become better as well. So yeah.
What was one of the best skills you gained?
One of the best skills, I think, was studying. Before my mission, I was not the best at doing my homework. I loved sports and I worked really hard playing sports and things like that, but when it came to schoolwork, I probably should have put in a little bit more effort. And so going on my mission, I think I realized what things are most important in life. I learned how to prioritize, and I learned how to plan, and I learned how to study effectively, and I learned the importance of effective study.
Most extreme weather.
Most extreme weather. There was actually a number of typhoons in Taiwan while I was there. And so I did ride my bike through a couple of typhoons, a couple of torrential downpours. I felt like I was swimming, which is not allowed on your mission, but it was raining so hard that I was just drenched from head to toe. So, yeah.
What was one of the hardest things you went through?
One of the hardest things that I went through on my mission, I think in just lots of aspects of missionary work, because obviously the Savior's perfect, the gospel is perfect, but as we go out and preach the gospel, sometimes we realize that we're not perfect. And so I think one of the hardest things is just learning to humble yourself, and to overcome those little weaknesses. But yeah.
Almost done here. Let's see. Best piece of mission prep advice you could give?
Mission prep advice, read the Book of Mormon. Get into a habit of reading it every single day. And then practice sharing what you learn in the Book of Mormon, or what you learn from Preach My Gospel. And so just being really familiar with the Book of Mormon, and then also Preach My Gospel, and learning how to share those things with others.
And the best advice you could give to someone just getting home from their mission?
Just getting home from the mission.
4 months ago.
Yeah. Just get straight into things. Don't think you deserve a break. Obviously the Lord is super pleased with the work that you put in. But coming home, make sure you get right into the swing of things with school and work. Obviously there's times for relaxation as well. But make sure that you're always staying busy, continuing to plan, and work hard in everything you do.